Barriss Offee, Padawan of Luminara Unduli and dear friend of Ahsoka Tano, was a secondary character in one of the major arcs of the Clone Wars TV series, and we see her slowly devolve into chaos as she becomes disillusioned with the Jedi, blows up part of the Jedi Temple, and tries to frame her best friend for the act. It was a deep and mysterious storyline, but one left unresolved as she was simply left to rot in prison as the 7th and final season of the Clone Wars came to air. But recently, thanks to Tales of the Empire, we now know exactly what happened to her in the days, weeks, months, and even years following Order 66. In this video, I'm going to break it all down and explain her life after the Clone Wars, so be sure to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and let's get into it. Barriss wakes up from a nightmare in a cold sweat during her prison sentence, seeming as if she senses the pain and evil of Order 66. She rises from her bed to look out a window, seeing the temple being bombarded during Anakin's attack. She calls out to the Coruscant Guard, asking what happened, to which they reply, "Just be glad you're not a Jedi anymore. By tomorrow, they won't exist." This shows us that the Jedi Council were very diligent with updating their lists of active Jedi, since later on some Inquisitors had Order 66 used against them, since the clones still considered them to be Jedi. Maybe Palpatine kept Order 66 under his sleeve just in case he wanted to dispose of his Inquisitors. Who knows really how that works. Sometime later, Lyn, also known as the Fourth Sister, visits Barriss in her cell, stating that she isn't here on behalf of the Jedi Order and says that she has a rare offer for Barriss. Having seemingly no other options, Barriss takes this offer, and it's here that we get told where she is serving a life sentence for crimes against the Republic, which is obviously talking about her attacking the Jedi Temple during the Clone Wars. The Fourth Sister mentions this incident, saying Barriss had considered the Jedi to be traitors and murderers at the time of her trial, and it seemed that she was right to think so, as the Jedi had reportedly tried to assassinate Chancellor Palpatine and take power for themselves. This is an obvious lie, but it does fit in with both Legends and the canon continuities, since all civilians and anyone else who wasn't highly important at the time of Order 66 was told this propaganda instead of having the truth revealed to them to keep them in check and instill hatred against the Jedi. And I mean, of course, you can obviously make a case that they did commit treason by not letting Palpatine go through the court system and instead just trying to execute him on the spot. In this case, Lyn is trying to stroke Barriss's ego, telling her that she was right to hate the Jedi and that now she has the chance to serve something far greater than herself. After accepting Lyn's offer, Barriss is taken to the currently in construction Fortress Inquisitorius, where she meets the Grand Inquisitor. With her are two former associates from the Jedi Temple, one of which she never really got along with, known as Amarr. The three of them are informed of the Republic's reorganization into the Galactic Empire, and the Grand Inquisitor explains to them that this fragile transition requires people who are willing to keep order and eliminate any of the Emperor's enemies. As Amarr appears unsettled, the Grand Inquisitor warns the trio that they should not leave the fortress before they have completed their trials. Ignoring this, considering the Empire's offer to appear just like or even worse than the Jedi Order he served under, Amarr leaves at night and Barriss warns him not to go, but he doesn't listen. And due to this, he is killed by an accident, leaving the other two fearful and forcing them to comply with the trials that they will go through. Lyn, the Fourth Sister, takes Dante, the other former Jedi boy, to go through his trials as the Grand Inquisitor escorts Barriss into a private chamber. There are lightsabers on a desk, the weapons of recently fallen Jedi, and the Grand Inquisitor hands one to Barriss, telling her to strike him down. She refuses, saying that she could kill him. Certain that she has no chance, he urges her on, leading to her unleashing a series of attacks, with all of them failing to meet their target. The Grand Inquisitor is actually a former Jedi Temple guard and the one that was actually standing next to Barriss at her trial, so he knew all forms of lightsaber combat and was extremely familiar with the most notable of Jedi Masters and their Padawans, not only in name and status but also in their moves and personalities. Due to this, he was easily able to avoid her attacks, and he told her that her adherence to the Jedi's rules of combat made her easy to predict and dodge. Following him mocking her ability, Barriss feeds into her anger and takes the Inquisitor slightly off guard with a flurry of attacks, singeing him on his shoulder pad. He smiles and bashes her nose before force pushing her against the ceiling, knocking the breath out of her and making her drop the saber. In her rage, she taps into the dark side deeper, pushing him with the force so hard that he bleeds through his lips and gives a devilish smirk, signifying his acknowledgement that she has great potential to become a powerful asset through the dark side of the Force. After some time, Lyn and the Grand Inquisitor take Dante and Barriss to a room and are told that both of them have shown promise, but that only one space is available in the Inquisitorius. A lightsaber is thrown between them and a ray shield activates, trapping them in a circle which shrinks more and more as time goes on. If one of them does not kill the other one, both of them will die. Dante pulls the lightsaber towards him, causing Barriss to ask him what he's doing, to which he replies, "Embracing the future." Igniting the red saber, Dante attacks Barriss, but she puts up a decent struggle until she's pushed away into the ray shield and it burns her back. As she lays breathless on the ground, Dante prepares himself for a killing blow, which is when Barriss digs into the deepest parts of her rage and not only force chokes him but snaps his neck entirely. Lyn then hands Barriss her helmet, officially making her a member of the Inquisitorius. Sometime later, all of the current Inquisitors are summoned before the Grand Inquisitor to meet their new master. There only seems to be 4 of them, hinting that this is taking place fairly early on in the Empire's reign, with them still searching for the members who would later be seen in the works such as Rebels and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Darth Vader is introduced as their new master, and as he takes a seat on his throne, the Grand Inquisitor gives a small speech before saying, "Long live the Empire." Barriss looks down with an almost regretful expression, then puts on her helmet and repeats, "Long live the Empire." She is literally putting on a mask to tell a lie that she doesn't really believe in. After another time skip, Lyn and Barriss are sent to a faraway planet to hunt down a rumoured Jedi. Barriss notes that the intel that they received doesn't make it clear if a Jedi is involved or not, to which Lyn tells her to shut up and know her place, which is already representing a dogma, which is something very close to what the Jedi had and that Barriss did not like. Barriss, once she sees the condition of the village, which is extremely run down and poor, notes that these people have nothing and questions how the Emperor that they're serving could allow this to happen. Lyn notes that it is due to them harboring a traitor that they deserve nothing, and Barriss says that they should solve this quickly so that the people can go on to live their prosperous lives, to which Lyn simply keeps walking forward. This shows the clear disconnect in their beliefs, with Barriss still having aspects of Jedi-like behaviour within her. While Lyn aggressively questions the townspeople, Barriss kindly speaks to a small child, peacefully finding out the location of the Jedi. Lyn had spoken to a man who swore that there had no Jedi around, so to punish him for betraying his word, she butchered the entire village in a devastating onslaught, sparing only the child. Barriss confronts her about this while they search for the Jedi, telling her that she acted out of turn. Lyn conveys her point of view, stating that making an example of people incites fear of disrespecting the authority of the Emperor, whereas Barriss believes that one cannot rule through fear. After they climb the mountain, the Jedi that they were searching for confronts Lyn and gives her a beatdown, seemingly effortlessly dealing with her attacks and eventually kicking her so hard that she switches off and drops her lightsaber while flying back onto the ground. As the Jedi is about to execute her, Barriss blocks their blade and tries to talk them out of this fight. Promising peace through surrender and relating to the Jedi's fears and loneliness, Barriss does her best to peacefully resolve the situation. Eventually the Jedi opens up their heart to Barriss and surrenders, with the two having an emotional connection. Lyn gets up and strikes the Jedi from behind, shocking Barriss and infuriating her. Noting that the Jedi is only injured and can still survive, Barriss is told that they need to leave the Jedi behind, and as the two of them walk back to their ship, Lyn mentions that their sole mission and purpose is to systematically eradicate the Jedi as they find them, due to the threat that they pose to the Empire. Barriss stops walking, replying simply, "Then you have one Jedi left to deal with." Igniting her saber in a fit of rage, Lyn charges at Barriss, but in one single flick of the hand, Barriss force pushes Lyn off the mountain, before taking off her Inquisitor helmet and throws it down in the same spot that she had pushed Lyn. She then returns to the Jedi, embracing them to presumably heal them, and then goes on to run from the Inquisitors. Years later, we meet a couple with a small child who are seeking a healer, someone they have heard great rumours of, as they believe their child is sick. The healer is revealed to be Barriss, who notices nothing wrong with the infant, to which the mother tells them the story of the Imperial personnel testing the children of their area, looking for something in their blood. Her child had something of concern, so they went to seek healing. Barriss realizes that the Empire were taking note of the child's midichlorian count, and as she explains this to them, a breeze enters her hut and blows out her candles. An Inquisitor has come for the boy. Telling the parents as well as her personal helpers to run to her ship to meet an old friend, most likely this is Ahsoka, Barriss walks outside to see that it is Lyn who has come to hunt for the boy. The two of them fight, with Barriss refusing to stand aside and allow Lyn to take the boy. Despite her visual aging, she moves incredibly quickly, and Lyn fails to strike her down. Ironically, she states, "Your anger makes you predictable," mirroring the words that she was told by the Grand Inquisitor years earlier. And if you're wondering why Barriss looks so old but Lyn does not look like she's aged at all, it's probably because Barriss is using her own life force to help heal people, which probably takes a toll and makes her age more. After seeing that the group are far away in the distance, Barriss stands aside, allowing Lyn to chase them. As she leaves, Barriss warns her not to enter the cave as she follows the child and that she will never find a way out after she enters. As predicted, Lyn gets lost and cannot find her way out. Barriss ominously speaks in an echoed voice within the cave, trying to get Lyn to turn away from the life she is living, eventually leading to Lyn swiping into the cave out of air, blindly hoping to kill Barriss and end the torment. Barriss, with her arms open as if preparing for an embrace, is impaled by Lyn's lightsaber, and immediately after this, Lyn regrets what she has done. Throwing her saber to the ground, the former Inquisitor rushes to Barriss' side, holding her as she slowly dies in her arms, using her last words to tell Lyn that she knows the way out and that she only has to accept it, leaving behind the fear of the Empire and living for herself. Barriss has a lasting impact on Lyn, who leaves her saber in the cave as she carries Barriss out, presumably preparing to give her a burial, or, because this is Star Wars, presumably preparing to make her alive again. The abandonment of her saber calls back to Barriss' abandonment of her helmet, signifying that from this moment forward, Barriss' legacy may live on through Lyn, who may use this opportunity to do a great deal of good in the galaxy. This is a tragic but beautiful end to the character of Barriss Offee, someone who we've seen from a lost and confused Padawan grow into a kind and sincere woman who only did her best to help people and atone for the wrong that she had done in the years earlier. So that is the full story of what happened to Barriss Offee after Order 66. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to slap a like on it, subscribe for weekly Star Wars content, and drop a thank you Mr. Darth Vader in the comments down below if you made it this far.